Okay, today I'm doing an interview for Trance Hub, who I have to apologise to profoundly because I'm probably a month late with this interview now because I've been filming the music video for We Control the Sunlight for the last week and just finished it, so now I have time to sit down and do all the things that I should have been doing, so I'm really sorry about that. Okay, well, I've been doing music since I was 5 years old. My mother is a pianist, so my whole life has revolved around classical music up until pretty recently when I directed my attention more to EDM. And I was taken out of school at the age of 12 and I was home educated for 4 years, so that I had the opportunity actually to focus more on being a performer and more on music. And during that time I gave a lot of performances as a pianist and also as a cellist, because I started studying cello for 4 years, starting at the age of 13. And then I decided I wanted to be a composer. So I went on to study as a classical composer at the Guildhall School of Music in London. And I was really interested in film music, and I thought, yeah, this is definitely what I want to do as a career. I want to be the person behind the scenes creating the music, and I thought that was really exciting. But as time went on, I directed my attention a little bit more into commercial music, and I was writing for artists like Chipmunk and Plan B, who are more in the R&B music industry. That was how I originally came into songwriting. It was sort of an accident because I made a track with one of my friends just for fun, and then it got a lot of support in the EDM industry, so then I thought, okay, this might be another interesting path to go down. And I think that when you're a musician, it's very important to keep your mind open and have as many different, experiment with as many different things as you possibly can before you come to a decision about what you really want to do. So yeah, the whole becoming a singer thing was sort of an accident, and I never really enjoyed the whole performing aspect as a pianist. So but doing it as a singer is a completely different thing, because when you get on stage and you get to connect with people and really, feel the energy surrounding you and feel the support, it's a completely different thing and it feels amazing. So I discovered something in the last 2 years actually that I really enjoy doing, and it was never something I intended to do, so it's quite funny how that happened, how that worked out. So my favourite artists are probably the artists that I've grown up knowing, a lot of classical composers like Tchaikovsky and Debussy, Rachmaninoff, Beethoven. But if we're going to be more sort of 21st century on this question, I'd probably say people like Imogen Heap. I love her music and her lyrics. They're really devoid of anything cliche, and she's really one of a kind, and I really enjoy listening to artists like that inspire you to get creative with your own stuff. And yeah, probably her or Owl City. I really love his music. He's also a good friend of mine, so he's an amazing guy, and everything he does is very inspirational. Probably Above and Beyond, Sun and Moon, and what was that other one? A Thing Called Love. For this year anyway, it's definitely my favourite tunes of this year. And if we go back in time, probably Armin van Buuren's Sound of Goodbye. I really love that track. A friend of theirs introduced me to Fila, and I went to his studio and he said, okay, you go away and write something for me, maybe we can do an album together. So I wrote my first tune for them about a year ago, and it took us a year to get around to actually doing something with it. And when we finally got around to doing something with it, 10 minutes before the studio session ended, I gave Fila the acoustic song We Control the Sunlight that I wrote, and I really didn't want anyone to hear it actually. I was very nervous about it, and I was like, yeah, I think I'm gonna chuck this track. I don't think much of it. I'm really glad I didn't, obviously. I tend to have an attitude towards a lot of the stuff that I write, and yeah, he really loved it and he really got into it, and it took him 3 or 4 days to finish, after taking a year to finish his other tune that we never released in the end because We Control the Sunlight, it was so strong compared to the other one, so that worked out in a funny way as well. You want me to give you some exclusive names as to who I'm working with? Well, I'm quite secretive about this. I don't want to give away too much because I like people to, feel the anticipation. I'm definitely not working with any of the younger guys anymore. I'm now focusing on people who have been around for quite a while and whose music I followed for quite a while, so that gives you a little hint into what I'll be doing and who I'll be doing it with. A lot of my dream collaborations, I'm very privileged to say, are happening. It's been amazing working with Matt, especially because we've come up with a completely different sound and done some really, really interesting things together, which won't be out until quite a while, and it's stuff that is all under my name, but I had a lot of fun working with him. I'd probably say my dream collaboration would be working with someone like Owl City. You're probably going to say that's a bit gay, but I really like his stuff and he's a really cool guy, and a lot of his lyrics revolve around things like his natural surroundings and things that I tend to like to talk about in my music as well, so that would make sense. I'd probably say Emma Hewitt because she's been very selective about who she's worked with, and that's definitely something to be admired and something for any vocalist to pay attention to be very selective about who you collaborate with, and make sure that it's about quality always and not about quantity, because it's more important that people listen to your first track and know that everything that comes after that is going to be of the same standards, and I think that's how you keep your fan base and how you build a fan base and how you get respect in this industry. Definitely, I think quality is the most important thing, so it doesn't matter about how many tracks you release at the end of the day. It's just about who you work with and how much time you put into the project, and make sure that it really gets promoted properly at the end and that it goes somewhere. So probably I'd say a lot of it at the moment is dedicated towards studio time. I spend about 6 to 7 hours sometimes just recording. It takes a really long time, I can tell you that as a vocalist, recording. I know that DJs say that they spend a huge amount of time in their studio producing, but I can tell you as a vocalist that it can take a hell of a lot of time if you want to get something sounding right. So probably, a lot of that is spent in the studio, and also being outdoors because I love being with my animals, with my dogs, and I love being in nature and having fresh air, and I just spent the last 4 years in London, so obviously I can't get enough of being back in the countryside again and somewhere I can kind of breathe and, let my imagination run free. I'd say yogurt. I actually prefer yogurt to chocolate. You're probably going to say I'm crazy, but I think it's a lot nicer and a lot healthier. My piano, because that's where I get all my ideas down. Could not live without my piano. I would love to just fold it up and take it everywhere with me. That would be so cool. So one of the best things about being a vocalist is that you don't actually have to carry your instrument around with you. I remember when I was a cellist it was exhausting because I'd have to take this cello around everywhere with me. But my piano, I'd love to just pack it up into a little box and take it everywhere with me. The third thing would probably be my dogs. I'm a crazy, crazy animal lover, especially for dogs. Fourth thing would be my laptop. I cannot live without my Apple Mac. I'm sure that any Mac owner would tell you the same thing. And the fifth thing would be my BlackBerry. I love being able to communicate with people so quickly. It's awesome. I'm a very impatient person, so I always need to get my messages through to people fast. I do not have any embarrassing fan moments actually. I just have embarrassing stage moments where I'll go on stage and the microphone won't be working, which has happened so many times. And it's quite funny, you're just standing on stage and everyone's giving you odd looks because you're singing and nothing's coming out. Probably Ministry of Sound, because everyone knows me there, so I always get in free. I always get past all the security guards without being checked, she says with a cheeky smile. And it's a great club. Obviously you meet amazing people and we're all into the same music, and a lot of people there know me now, which is really nice. And we always get to go down and, you know, hang out with the DJs and have a really good time, so it's a great place to be. Very nice atmosphere. How do you describe lyric writing as an experience? Can you give some tips for budding writers? Well, I would say that the best thing to do, I find, as a songwriter is to write about what you know and what you've experienced, because you can't go wrong when you write about things that you really understand and things you've been through and things that you really, you know, are close to your heart and things you really feel. And for me, that's always been about identity and you know, the sense of losing your identity and wanting to find yourself again and wanting to find where you belong, and wanting to understand yourself and understand other people around you. I think that this is a very popular topic with a lot of artists, and you can write endlessly about it. So probably that. And I think that if you trace the history of successful pop songs, ballads, or just songs in general, the ones that really get to people and touch people are the ones that talk about issues that are close to us, like love and you know, just again friendship, identity, all these things. And it doesn't have to be done in a corny way or a cliche way, you know. I think there are a lot of different ways to express it, and it's good to take time over it. But I think if it's something that people can relate to, then it's always going to be a winner, you know, at the end of the day. So yeah, write about what you know and what you understand. That's what I'd say about that one.